Okay. So Grambo's in the microphone. We're back. This is number 15. We took a break, a COVID break, right? We took a COVID break. I thought I wasn't feeling very safe with Vicky in the whole situation, so I said, "We got to cut this off." And then, how many weeks?
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, Vicky said, "I got COVID." I'm like, "Okay, good. Not good that you got COVID, but I thought, okay, I made the right decision." And so, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience with that? And
I have no clue how I got it. I was being very careful. That week, I hadn't even left my house except for 3 appointments. Each appointment, I wear a mask. They wore a mask. They weren't sick. They didn't test positive. And that's it. And somehow I came down with it anyways. Still a mystery. But my son came to see me that day. It was the first time in a year that he came, and he came with his family, and then they wound up getting sick. They got it 2 days later. So
because you didn't know you had it.
I didn't know I had it. I
Right.
just that day while they were visiting, I got excruciatingly fatigued. Terrible fatigue. And I thought, you know what I thought? Oh, I'm just getting old.
Yeah, right?
That's what I thought. I'm like, oh God, I'm really tired. I was washing dishes. And then each day I was just feeling worse and worse. I thought I had a sinus infection, maybe. Never occurred to me COVID. It just didn't. So when she told me on the 4th day, finally, it was the weekend of the storm that we couldn't get out of the house, the snowstorm.
Right.
So when I went to the doctor, finally I got there. I pushed myself on that Tuesday to get to a doctor. I was so shocked when she said COVID. I really was waiting for an antibiotic for my sinus infection. But I was pretty sick. I truly thought one time on the 2nd or 3rd day, I was like, if I died, I'd be okay with this. That's how sick I felt.
I've had a full life.
Yeah, I'm okay. I just felt so sick. So it was a long process. It took me a good 4 or 5 weeks to feel myself again.
Right.
Sometimes I think I have a moment or so where I have this fatigue that is like a wave for a little bit, and then I'm okay.
Still, you mean?
Yeah, I just had it yesterday morning. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it passed, and then I was fine. So it's interesting. I think it's a very strange virus. Yeah. I wish I knew how I got it. I'd feel better. I don't know. So in a way, I say I was so careful, and I got it anyway. What am I going to do? I didn't even see my grandchildren since Christmas. So when I got COVID that day, when I discovered I did, I was on the way to the hospital. I got the infusion, monoclonal antibodies. I said, I better call people I love. Who knows? I don't know how sick I'm going to get.
Right.
I really tried to prepare that I may be dying. Who knows?
Right.
It was scary.
Wow.
And I was always scared to get it because I live alone. But I have to say, one of the gifts of COVID was I never felt alone. Like, people texted, dropped off soup, called me. Everybody was so loving. I was very grateful. There's something about getting through it that takes away some of the fear of it, which is
Right.
good too. Yeah,
Right.
thank God. Yeah, I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful my son, then he went up getting it. His wife got it. His mother-in-law, who lives with them, got it. And she has underlying conditions. But she's okay. We're all okay. We all got through it, thank God.
Good.
Yeah. So that was our COVID break. It was good intuition, yeah.
Right. And then you started to paint again.
I did,
Right,
which was
during
another
all of
gift.
that,
I started
right?
my painting again,
So
which is
talk a little bit about how the creativity helped you get through all of that.
Well, because I usually write, and I didn't feel like writing because that felt too heavy, too deep. I just couldn't. I didn't feel good enough to go there. So somewhere I just started to sketch. Every day I would sketch, and it was fun. And I thought, okay, I'll do this every day. And then I formed an Instagram page and said, well, this way I'll make myself do it because I have to post something every day. And that encouraged me.
Right.
So I've been doing it.
Right.
Yeah. So
Makes you feel better.
it does feel wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of joy, a lot of peace and joy just doing it. So that's been fun. I feel like I've been getting better at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
But I did go dance on Friday night with a group of people.
Wow.
Oh, really? Wow. And that was a big decision, and I'm fine, and they were fine. Some of them had already had COVID, and I stayed away from people, and some people wore masks, and that was a big decision. That's not easy. I think I went back and forth 20 times. Kind of like, remember when I was talking to you about going to the chiropractor? I said, I don't know that I'm ready yet to go to a place where there's a lot of people, but I did.
I went to a bridal shower yesterday.
Oh, how'd that go?
Not by Bear Mountain. So it's like, you always have to tell people if you've gone out of state. I'm thinking, what happens when you go through the New Jersey line, right? It's like all of a sudden all the germs come out. What? But it was lovely. I drove there by myself. I was so happy to be in the car all by myself. And it was nice. My sister was there, my sister-in-law, my nieces, and so I was there for about 2 hours, and I had enough, and I left, and I went home.
Oh, good though, right? So you had a
Yeah.
social situation.
Yeah. So
Great.
I feel like I've been vaccinated. I decided I should get vaccinated because I'm so tired of thinking about it. And people I respect, like Mark Hyman, recommend you get the vaccine, and it's Peter Attia, who's a brilliant physician. So I got, so we got the vaccine. So, I feel like now you have to trust that it's going to work and get out into the world and start doing something, right?
Mm. Yeah.
It's a process.
It all is. And every day they discover something else about it, right? So, yeah, and we discover something else about ourselves, I think, each day. This whole thing. Yeah. So, I will get the vaccine, but I can't get it yet because of I have these antibodies within me that I can't get it yet.
Right.
Meaning monoclonal antibodies. So, and that's what I had to keep reminding myself on Friday. Wait a minute. I had it. I have antibodies. What am I so afraid of? Really? So that's why I said, all right, I'll go. Then I found out the hostess had it in December, and that made me feel better. I was like, okay. It did. I was like, okay,
Right.
this is good. So that's been a big part of our lives, hasn't it? Yeah.
Right. And it still is, like, when you still have to wear a mask when you go places, even though I feel like saying, I'm fully vaccinated, I'm fine, I don't want to worry about this anymore, but I guess we still do.
Yeah, I think we have to still,
Yeah.
be cautious to some degree, yeah.
So at my house, we have Sophie, who's 5 months, our golden retriever puppy. So my life has been very fragmented. I feel like I have a little kid, and my time is so fragmented. And I started to spring clean because it makes me feel better. So at least my house, I'm working on keeping it clean because she brings in so much dirt and crud. And I even started watching YouTube spring cleaning videos just to inspire myself to clean the ceiling fan or whatever. So that's good. And I did write a blog post, so I feel like, okay, I'll do that. So you have the creativity.
Cool.
Make myself do that.
Yeah. So you want to talk about anything else or about anything else about how you're feeling or anything?
Well, I've made some changes because I cut down on my coffee and the caffeine, and I feel better. I tried to eliminate it, and then I got depressed because just felt so like flat because I was just so used to that little boost from the caffeine.
Yeah.
And I'm down to like a half a cup of coffee in the morning. And that's fine.
Okay.
And I started to drink this Raza blend,
Okay.
and it's like adaptogens,
Okay.
like mushrooms and all these different, and it's very earthy like coffee. So I mix that in, and that helps you to reduce your stress. So that I think has been working too.
Cool.
Yeah. I kind of feel like a hippie, but that's okay.
You're not?
No.
No, you were.
Yeah. And then the wine too. I started to reduce that because I knew that wasn't so good for me. But this is what happened. I went to my gynecologist. She's my new gynecologist because the old one is not in clinical practice anymore, and I needed my hormones, so I have somebody new. And I told her about my situation, feeling so, just anxious and scattered and stressed. And she's like, "There, have a glass of wine for Pete's sake." And I'm like, okay. She's like, have a cup of coffee, have a glass of wine. You're just perfect. You're fine. Don't be so hard on yourself. I thought, okay, that's good. So
Good.
you don't have to be perfect.
No one does.
You
Yeah.
just have to be conscious of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
You know what? You should be more on the camera. There we go.
meaning I wasn't in the camera all the time.
Part of it. Oh well. So, anything else you want to talk about?
I did have on my mind something, and maybe we can end it with this, just for everyone to think about. We started these conversations just as a way to maybe go deeper into ourselves and have open conversations. So it's mostly, I just want to talk about what's mostly on my mind. And it's really not COVID. It's more about what's going on in our country and in the world around the issue of race. Like, that's what's on my mind a lot. So I've been doing a lot of deep diving and reading and listening to podcasts, and there's some wonderful, wonderful stuff out there to listen to really raise my consciousness and raise my awareness about my own role and they're all of us as a country, and it brings me such deep sadness, like bottomless sadness, to really get in touch with what's happened over all this time. And I'm grateful that it feels like now something's happening different. I'm so grateful, and I know we have a long way to go. But I'm asking all of you out there to take some time, listen to a podcast, do some reading, do some own journaling, dive deep, think about where you got your own messages from about other races and what your attitude has been. And even for the best of us who think that they may not be racist, I really challenge that for all of us.
I think it's really difficult because of where we live. You know, we live in such a white area that we're really not, we're really not exposed to different cultures and different people and what they're going through.
Well, that's why I'm saying to listen to the podcast, read the books. There's some really good ones. White Fragility is a good one. Caste is a good one. My Grandmother's Hands is a good one. I grew up in an integrated neighborhood, so I don't have the same background as you. I only came here in my 20s. So I have a little different background. And what I realized was, even though I lived in an integrated neighborhood, I had fear. I did have some fear. And it's interesting when I hear some of the podcasts and some of the black women and men talk about the fear that they had. So guess what happens when two people have fear, right? It's the scenario for all of this stuff to happen, all of these terrible things to happen. So if we can get beyond that and think of it and talk at such open levels about our fear and where it came from, I think that's helpful. So anyway, that's really the top on my mind, and I encourage us all to do our parts. Like you're saying, part of your thing about it is, I don't know. So then it's our responsibility to find out what it's been like for other people, right? And I have Asian grandchildren and a daughter-in-law, so I am concerned about how they're treated in this country, and I'm concerned about that. And I have people in my family that don't fit the norm, so also them, like how will they be treated? And all of that's important to me, and just in my own heart. I don't think it's a head thing as much as a heart thing. I think we just have to open our hearts. I say just as if it might be easy, but sometimes fear, I think, captures our hearts, and then it's hard to open it up because we're afraid, right? So I think that's the key, is really address our fears, speak about them, get them out in the open, and then really put them under the light to see if they're valid. And I think that's for all of us. I don't think any of us are immune from that process. That's a necessary process. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about for today.
Well, and then we can put links in the comment section below. Like a podcast, a couple books, or whatever you recommend.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Might be interested.
If you're interested, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear from you, what you've been up to, any comments or concerns, or.
Yeah, we missed everybody. We're glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
And we'll probably do this every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. So, thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.